Is your extended family multiracial? One answer, no, we are white. Okay, that's fine. I just am asking the question. You get yes or no as your answer. Number 19, do you know someone living who is over 100 years old? Do you know someone alive who is over 100? And number 20, are you a godparent? Are you a godparent? Okay, let's have anybody who said yes to number 8 stand up, please, or wave your hands in the air if standing up feels harder right now. Yes to number 8. Okay, folks, these people listen to podcasts, which is awesome. So I would love you to take a seat, and I want to hear some samples of your favorite podcasts. Who has a podcast they want to recommend to the room? Yes? The presiding bishop has a podcast. Is that
the right first answer? Two feminists annotate the Bible.
I love that. The two feminists that annotate the Bible.
On Being.
On Being, Kristen Tippett's organization started on public radio and has continued.
Kate Bowler.
Kate Bowler. That's a great one. Everything Happens is the name of the podcast by Kate Bowler.
Harry Potter and the Sacred Text.
Harry Potter and the Sacred Text out of Harvard World People up in Boston. It's amazing. Oops. Don't shake your phone, it does that. Anybody else want to throw one out? Yes. Please. Robert Downey Jr. Awesome. Justin Welby. So the Archbishop of Canterbury. He was just on our campus on Thursday. For Wednesday, Thursday. We just had a lovely time. Yeah.
Jen Hatmaker.
Jen Hatmaker. Can you say more? I don't know that one.
Oh gosh.
Well, I mean, what's the nature of it?
So the presiding bishop was on her end of the year 2021 podcast.
Yes.
And she, a former evangelical church member and newly single. So she has a lot to say.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
It's called For the Love.
Thank
For the
you.
love. Thank you. Yes,
I couldn't
Fred.
think of it.
The Bible you thought you knew.
The Bible you thought you knew.
The guy used to be a professor at Seattle Pacific Episcopal Priest, and I cannot remember his name.
Okay, but you can find it by doing the Bible you thought you knew. Okay, so we've already broken a bunch of stereotypes here, right? Look across the generations of people who just responded. And people who are listening to podcasts, right? This is important. There's someone had a hand up here. Yes? And that's why we drink. That's a definite one. I know that one too, but that's talked about in the grad school.
Number of podcasts from the Center for Action and Spirituality.
So Richard Rohr and his group, the Center for Action and Spirituality, have a lot of really, really good podcasts. We can go all day, it sounds like. Yeah. Same one? You love that one too? Good. Okay, so the next one I want to do is anybody who said, where did I lost my numbers here? Hold on, don't give up on me. No to number 4. No to number 4. Please stand. That's good. Okay, I'm standing with you. We are the honest ones, perhaps, who did not love Sunday school. We did not, and we're again across decades here. So before you sit down, just speak out a couple of reasons why you think you didn't love Sunday school. What were some of the issues or reasons? What Sunday school? Okay. Why did you love it?
They talked down to us.
You felt talked down to. That's a big one. Very good.
The teacher was an alcoholic.
Ooh. Not helpful. So not exactly the role model. A teacher was an alcoholic, not exactly the role model.
The priest was too.
So do you know the word, do you know the language of family systems? Have you heard that language? So there's study in psychology that talks about how organizations operate like families. And alcoholism often tracks in a family system, as you know, if you know families who struggle. And in organizations like churches, it's often true too, tragically. So leaders who are alcoholic often attract other people into their realm of leadership, all very well intentioned, but you'll end up with people who are active alcoholics or some other kind of unhealthy behavior. And it's protected by a system that's used to that happening. So I'm very sorry that happened to you. But I'm really glad you're here. Somebody else had hand.
Yeah, the Be Careful Little Hands song made me feel bad.
Be Careful Little Hands song made me feel bad. Please sit down. So I put those two questions, did you love Sunday school and do you listen to podcasts, together for a reason. We know so much more now than we've ever known about how people learn and about the human brain. And as a church, we are naive if we don't pay attention to that. So if we just sort of live as religious people trying to do Christian formation or teach the faith with our heads in the sand, because we've always done it this way, and it worked for me, and it's great, we're missing some opportunities to reach people where they are most able to learn and most open to learning, right? So I didn't mean to make fun of Sunday school. Sunday school is a form of education that can be very, very good and can be very, very rich. But the way we got to Sunday school is its own history, right? The Christian church in North America in particular began to have Sunday school because the European churches had Sunday school as a response to the Industrial Revolution. Families moved from rural communities to industrial centers, to cities. Parents worked in factories, long hours, many days a week. And their children, who were poor, living in these tenement buildings, were not getting education. So churches began to offer free teaching of reading and writing to children that we called Sunday school on the one day that they were not in the factory or in school. And many of the kids were not yet in school because mandatory schooling hadn't begun. So Sunday school started with a mission to reach the poorest of the poor and to equip children with the capacity to read. But what did they read? They read the Bible. So we began to work with Christian tradition and Christian symbols and teach kids how to, so you can imagine, if this was my chance to learn to read, I could be really excited about coming to Sunday school. Fast forward to 2022, we have a very different landscape. We have a lot of buildings that have some classroom attachment to them. Many of them were built post-war, post-Second World War, because we had a baby boom, and all of a sudden we had lots of people who were trying to go back to church or going to church with lots of children. And this church, in her sincere effort to do the right thing, started to build schools on Sundays of children and young people to form the faith, to teach the faith. Again, done well, it was life-changing. But unfortunately, all sorts of other social transitions were happening at the same time. And this is really shrinking history. But women were going back to work in larger and larger, or going to work in larger and larger numbers. More and more, there were fewer and fewer people available to volunteer, to teach Sunday school. And the people who were going to volunteer were good people who were working and taking care of a family and had responsibilities maybe for their aging parents. So the time they had to prepare to teach Sunday school increasingly, typically shrunk. And people would come racing in on a Sunday morning with the lesson plan under their arm, and they'd maybe read it, but they hadn't really had time to pray about it, or think about it, or be imaginative about it. So the quality of what we've been able to offer in Sunday school, and this really, some churches have adult Sunday school, it's not just for children, but the quality has not been maintained at the peak that it once achieved, when we really were writing curriculum as a denomination, we were training teachers, we were equipping local church leaders to support lay people in teaching. The people teaching were benefiting from it, they were growing, because often there's nothing like having to teach something to learn it, right? So all of a sudden you're teaching a lesson on Moses, and you go, I don't really know about Moses. I guess I better learn about Moses if we're going to teach about Moses. But sadly, the world became more urgent. We also, the nuclear family, became the structure of most households. And so there was not the extended family that many people knew. So a lot of the things that had sustained and supported traditional religious education in our buildings were becoming frayed. So fast forward to 2022 again, we have so many resources to enrich the